This film begins with a scene featuring a woman named Lisa in a consultation session with a psychiatrist. Lisa, looking gloomy and depressed, has been suffering from severe depression since losing her only son to cancer. The deep pain and sorrow that Lisa feels are exacerbated by her husband, Eric, who should be her emotional support but is too busy with his work. Eric works abroad on important missions, often leaving him away from home. This situation makes Lisa feel increasingly lonely and deprived of the support she needs. It turned out, Lisa is not an ordinary woman. Before becoming a housewife, she was part of the French Special Forces, an elite military unit assigned to dangerous and crucial missions. Her experience and skills in the military once gave her strength and courage, but losing her son shattered all the resolve Lisa once had. Meanwhile, Eric is a member of the Operational Division of Customs, a position that demands a lot of time and attention, often keeping him away from his family. This condition forces Lisa to face her loss and grief alone, without the presence of her husband who could provide the emotional support she desperately needs during these difficult times. At that moment, Lisa recounts that she first met Eric when they were assigned a joint mission in counterterrorism and hostage rescue. 6 months later, Lisa became pregnant with their son, and after his birth, Lisa decided to leave the military. Additionally, Lisa mentions being happy because the next day, Eric is coming back to France. On the other hand, in Brazil, Eric was seen gets into a fight with a gangster led by a man named Pixo. Sometime later, at the office of the National Directorate of Intelligence and Customs Investigations in France, a woman named Romy receives news about Eric's death. Consequently, Romy immediately goes to inform Lisa about the sad news. According to the information, a dispute occurred among drug dealers, and Eric was suspected to be involved in the trade. As a result, the body must remain in Brazil, so they have to identify it there. Having lost both her son and husband, Lisa intends to do the unthinkable by taking a large amount of Fubex, a sleeping pill her husband used to consume. Without further thought, Lisa immediately takes a large dose. However, when the next morning arrives, Lisa wakes up in a state far from what she imagined. Lisa awakens not because of numbness or transition to another realm, but because of her phone vibrating, disrupting her sleep. Feeling confused and slightly dizzy, Lisa hears her phone continuously vibrating. It turns out the message is from Romy, reminding her about their departure to Brazil that day. Strangely, the overdose of sleeping pills Lisa consumed only made her feel slightly dizzy, not as she expected. This incident leaves Lisa puzzled and perhaps slightly relieved, as it turns out her life continues, even though she feels uncertain about how to move forward. The next day, Lisa and Romy arrived in Rio de Janeiro and went straight to the morgue where Eric's body was. At that moment, Lisa became extremely desperate when she saw Eric's bullet-riddled body. Not long after, at the hotel, Lisa takes the memory card from Eric's phone and immediately hacks into it. In the memory, there is an interview video of someone stating that the pharmaceutical company VDA has been involved in counterfeiting. This makes Lisa think that the sleeping pills Fubex she previously took were actually fakes made by VDA. At the same time, Romy says that Eric was not assigned to investigate the case, but Lisa remains suspicious because she had found the pills in her home. They also find frequent emails received by Eric from an Interpol agent named Richard, making them suspect that Richard had been surveilling Eric. The next morning, Romy decides to return to France, while Lisa stays in Brazil to get answers about her husband's death. The Goddess of Destruction necklace that Lisa wears reminds her of something else. From there, Lisa goes to the police station to ask about the progress of her husband's death case. Unfortunately, the police explain that the investigation is ongoing because there is a murder every 9 minutes in Brazil. At the same time, upon seeing a photo of Pixo next to Eric's photo, Lisa secretly takes it. Sometime later, Lisa rents a hostel in a slum area where from the window, she watches a man buying drugs from an armed dealer. Because of this, Lisa immediately approaches the man and expresses her intention to buy a weapon. Without much ado, the man takes Lisa to a place to meet an illegal arms dealer disguised as a tailor. As soon as Lisa shows a sum of cash, the woman asks her men to bring out several weapons they have. However, suspecting Lisa to be a cop, the woman's men attack her. After defeating them, Lisa asks where she can find Pixo. Subsequently, Lisa buys a used car and starts tracking down Pixo. Apparently, Pixo seems to be a feared man, so the locals appear to cover up his whereabouts. But finally, a woman agrees to inform her. After finding Pixo, Lisa decides to follow him into a club, where Lisa directly approaches Pixo and says that he is the one who killed her husband before suddenly pulling out a grenade and attacking them. After eliminating all of Pixo's men, Lisa asks Pixo who ordered him to kill Eric. Under torture, Pixo finally confesses that he was ordered by a police chief inspector named Luis Alves. After obtaining the information, Lisa ruthlessly kills Pixo. The next day, Police Chief Inspector Luis Alves receives a call from Pixo's number. Hurriedly, Luis steps out of his office to take the call, unaware that the call is being made by Lisa, who wants to see his face and find out where he lives. The following day, as Luis leaves his apartment, a young boy suddenly throws dirt at his clothes, making Luis angry and chase the boy. The boy then leads Luis to a basement where two of his friends are ready to trap him inside. When Luis realizes the floor of the room is covered in fuel, Lisa appears above him and begins interrogating him about her husband's death. Not wanting to be burned alive, Luis admits to planting drugs and money in Eric's room, making it appear as if he was involved in drug trafficking. However, Luis also issued orders for the case not to be investigated and reveals that he was paid by a man named Arturo Pereira, who runs a private security company. Upon hearing this, Lisa asks for Luis's phone before dropping her lighter onto the floor and setting him on fire. At night, Lisa learns that the boss of VDA, named Andres Barbosa, is a favorite client of Arturo. Upon knowing this, Lisa immediately contacts Arturo to set up a meeting. The next day, disguised as a wealthy woman, Lisa meets Arturo as per their agreement. In front of Arturo, Lisa claims she wants to hire security to protect her daughter who will be attending school there. Additionally, Lisa also claims to own a villa, but when showing its photo, it turns out to be a picture of Eric. Realizing this, Arturo intended to call his bodyguard. However, before he could, Lisa quickly choked him until he passed out. Not long after, when Arturo regains consciousness, he finds himself tied to a chair with a fishing hook attached to his throat, connected by a line to the door handle. Thus, if the door is fully opened, the fishing reel will pull the hook from Arturo's throat. At the same time, Lisa asks Arturo to set up a meeting with Barbosa, but Arturo claims he only contacts Barbosa via email. Nevertheless, Arturo informs her that he is responsible for protecting Barbosa's son, Junior. Additionally, Arturo provides a tablet containing information about Junior's whereabouts. After taking the tablet, Lisa carefully opens the door, leaving Arturo tied up. When the guards try to reach Arturo, they find the door locked. Unfortunately, when they break down the door, the fishing reel pulls out Arturo's tongue. Meanwhile, Lisa successfully leaves the building before the guards realize what she has done. At the same time, the news soon reaches the police station, where Lisa, caught on CCTV, is now declared a fugitive. At a different location, Lisa was seen observing Junior being escorted by his bodyguard. Then, when the bodyguard returned, Lisa pointed a gun at him and ordered him to get into the car. Lisa initially intends to kill the bodyguard, but changes her mind when she sees the bodyguard with his son. At that moment, the bodyguard admits that he is ashamed to work for Barbosa but is forced to do so to support his family. After asking his son to get out of the car, the bodyguard gives Lisa his business card and offers to help her confront Barbosa. For his and his family's safety, the bodyguard asks Lisa to shoot him in the stomach. Sometime later, Junior returns to the car only to find Lisa ordering him to drive. Once they reach the outskirts of the city, Lisa reveals to Junior that his father killed her husband and demands that Junior call his father. Under gunpoint, Junior is forced to dial his father's phone number. Unfortunately, the call is answered by Barbosa's right-hand man, who refuses to pass the phone to Barbosa. Even though he knows Junior has been kidnapped, the man tells Lisa to kill Junior because Barbosa has always wanted to get rid of him. Hearing this, Lisa pulled the trigger without hesitation. However, she didn't kill him. Junior then revealed that VDA was producing counterfeit drugs and that Lisa's husband had managed to track them down. It turned out that Eric was actually preparing to return to France to expose everything. If that happened, Barbosa and the ministers, along with anyone involved, would be ruined. Hearing this, Lisa demands that Junior take her to the VDA factory. The next day, Lisa and Junior arrive at the factory. As the vice president, it is not difficult for Junior to enter the factory. At the same time, Lisa activates a bomb in her car before exploring the factory with Junior. Unfortunately, a mercenary named Royce realizes that Lisa is a fugitive. Meanwhile, Junior explains that VDA copies the original serial numbers of Fubex, so each box made by Fubex has a duplicate at VDA. Additionally, Junior revealed that the villagers, including children, were forced to work and were monitored by mercenaries. As they enter the building where the counterfeit drugs are packaged, a guard who does not recognize Junior stops them, but Lisa quickly takes him out. They then instruct the villagers to leave and begin an assault. However, Junior gets shot. While injured, Junior asks Lisa for a grenade and instructs her to leave. As she is about to leave, Lisa, reminded of her husband and son, decides to blow up the factory along with herself. Moments later, villagers find Lisa lying unconscious and decide to take her to the village. Upon arrival, a shaman realizes that Lisa is pregnant, so the shaman then begins to treat her. In her subconscious, Lisa meets Eric and her son, but the vision suddenly vanishes, and Lisa sees herself pregnant before finally regaining consciousness. Initially, Lisa is disappointed to find herself still alive until the shaman informs her about her pregnancy. A few days pass, and Lisa is able to walk around the village and discovers many VDA-made medicines there. Strangely, several villagers seem to be suffering from skin ailments. Therefore, Lisa immediately contacts Romy to describe the village's condition. Lisa also admits that she has destroyed the factory and asks for Romy's help to evacuate her from there. Romy, initially thinking that Lisa has gone too far, does not respond until Lisa reveals her pregnancy. In a different location, Barbosa orders his men to find Lisa immediately. Not long after, Romy contacts Lisa again to inform her that they have obtained extraction permission and that a team will arrive at the extraction point in 5 hours. Romy also reveals that she has located Richard, the Interpol agent who was previously in contact with Eric. Additionally, Romy explains that Richard is on his way to the village to escort Lisa to the extraction point. At the same time, Royce and his men are on their way to the village. However, Richard arrives at the village first and urges Lisa to leave quickly. Before departing, Lisa says goodbye to a woman named Marta and her daughter, who have been taking care of her. Just as Lisa and Richard leave the village, Barbosa's men also arrive and order the villagers to gather. Seeing this, Royce states that based on the factory's CCTV footage, Marta brought Lisa to the village, thus forcing her to reveal her whereabouts. Since Marta remains silent, a villager takes the initiative to separate Marta from her daughter, forcing her to disclose where Lisa went. A few hours later, Lisa and Richard reach the extraction point but are confronted by a sniper. In the midst of the battle, the extraction helicopter arrives, and the extraction team manages to eliminate the sniper. As the extraction team starts to descend, Royce and his men suddenly attack them. During the fierce fight between the two sides, Royce secretly attacks Lisa and Richard from behind. After killing Richard, Royce challenges Lisa to a fight, but Lisa quickly defeats him. Shortly after, 2 extraction helicopters arrive to pick up Lisa and the remaining French soldiers. Because of this, Lisa finally arrives in France safely and is welcomed by Romy. A few days later, Barbosa watches the news broadcasting an international arrest warrant just issued against him. His bodyguard quickly changes the channel and leaves the room. At that moment, Junior's bodyguard enters the room and Lisa suddenly appears on the TV to speak with Barbosa. At that moment, Lisa says that she will avenge her husband and the fallen soldiers. Hearing this, Barbosa naturally dismisses Lisa's threat. Unexpectedly, Junior's bodyguard suddenly kills him. It seems Junior's bodyguard has kept his promise to help Lisa. At the end of the film, several years have passed, and Lisa lives with her now teenage daughter in a cottage in the middle of the forest. The girl asks Lisa to tell her how her father died. However, according to Lisa, what matters is how her father lived. At that moment, Lisa sees the shadow of her husband smiling at them from outside the window. Moral lesson from the story: never trust expired sleeping pills from questionable sources, or you might wake up with a headache and a revenge plot instead of a peaceful afterlife. Also, if you ever find yourself hunting down criminals, remember, grenades are great conversation starters.